Hey guys, so I want to tell you the story of how Colombia came about because a lot of people have been wanting to come. So I'm actually putting an event together. It's going to be next Tuesday, and we're going to sit down and we're meet each other and see if Colombia is a fit for you. So I would really love for you to come. I kind of want to tell you this quick story of how Colombia came about. So I don't know if you know this, but so last January, I'd broken up with my girlfriend of 5 years, and it was a really tough time for me. I'd had a bunch of friends that I was like relationship friends. So once you get out the relationship, suddenly you're like the evil single guy. Like you're the guy that like no one wants to hang out with anymore because he's single. He just wants to meet girls. Like that. That's kind of the attitude that all these guys have, that they will hang out with you. So they're like, okay, well we don't want to hang out with you anymore. We don't want to get in trouble with our girlfriend. So see you, goodbye. So all those friends left, and I was left with no one. I didn't know anyone in the city I'd be living in 5 years, and then I kind of asked myself, like what have I been doing for this 5 years? Like I feel like I'm starting anew. I don't know anyone. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And it was really strange because I would just I would sit inside on a Friday, Saturday night, and I was used to people calling me, and no one called. Like no one wanted to do anything, and it sucked. Like it was really shitty. So I just said, what, I need to do something. I need to kind of get out of this rut that I was in. And it'd been really tough because I'd basically quit my job. I said, I want to do, this isn't what I want to do. I was in finance. I said, this isn't what I want to do in my life. And 2 weeks later, I'd broken up with my girlfriend of 5 years. So I had no job. I'd moved out of the apartment, so I had no place to live. And I had like 10 grand in savings or something along those lines. And it was really low. And it was like, well, what do I do with that? So with the savings I had, I basically, over the next 12 weeks, started 2 companies and failed. I failed really bad for the first 2 times. So I basically blew through most of my money and had about 3,000 left in my account. And I had a choice. I said, I can try to get this second company working, and I know it's just been failing pretty bad, or I can take the money and go and travel. And I never had the time because I was in finance. I would work 70-hour weeks. I'd never had the time to travel. So I said, I want to meet people. I want to travel the world. That's what I want to do. So I went and I traveled. So I traveled, to all the cheap countries, the countries where I can actually, for $3,000 I can pay for a flight, accommodation, and actually live. So I ended up, basically my life savings gone. Traveling to Thailand and Bali. So I lived in Bali and Thailand for like 2 months, and I came back. It was pretty incredible. So I eventually, after a while, I had to come back to Boston because I was flat broke. I didn't have any money. Barely had a place to live. Luckily, my parents actually lived in Boston, so I could crash there. But you're 20, 28, living with your parents. It's not where you want to be with no savings. Not fun. And yeah, so I was in a low place, and it was pretty tough. So I realized that I'd kind of got used to like being around people because I'd been traveling. And if you go to all these hostels around the world, there's a bunch of hostels. They do like these like meet and greet events, and there's ways to meet people. But when I came back to Boston, it's a very cliquey city, and I found it really hard to meet people. Like I found it super hard to just kind of like find events where I could just meet normal people. I mean, I just wanted someone to stand next to in a bar on a Saturday night, so I didn't look like a total loser. And I didn't even have one person to call. No one, no calls Friday, no calls Saturday, phone completely silent. Like it sucked. It truly sucked. So I said, well, what can I do about it? So I said, okay, well, if I want to change this, I need to find something. So I started looking for events, and I didn't find any events for single people, for like people that just wanted to meet new people. So I started looking on Meetup.com for a while. Eventually, because someone that I knew suggested it, so I checked it out. But all the singles groups, or all the groups wanted to like do hiking, which I don't like walking. I'm not a fan. I'll go to the gym, but walking is it's not for me. But they wanted to do, and they were all in the day. Like it would be like hiking at like 12 a.m. on a Monday, or like volleyball at 5 p.m. when I'm at work on a Friday. I mean, it was really bad. So yeah, it just wasn't working. So I said, well, what am I going to do about it? So I said, well, if I do nothing right now, I'm screwed. Like I'm not going to meet anyone. So I had to do something. So I said, okay, I'm going to start my own group. Screw it. If no one wants to actually start a group that hangs out on the weekend, that does normal things with normal people, goes to like bars and just like goes out and drinks and has a good time on a Saturday or Friday night, like I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to put something together. And I'd never done anything like this before. I never ran a group. I mean, yeah, I'm just me. I mean, I'm just normal, like, so so I randomly said, okay, I've got to do this. So I put this, I put how I was feeling up on the description. I said, I find it hard to meet people in Boston. If you're in the same situation that I was, reach out. And I was blown away. The first meetup, we had 75 people come. I was really excited about it, and it was pretty incredible. But so kind of like after that success we've had, my social life started to take off. I started getting calls for people, to hang out. But again, it was, it might have been like before the meetup. It wasn't actual, like almost like as I didn't feel like I'd made any real friendships yet. So I kind of started thinking, how do we take this from like a social group that hangs out on the weekend, which is amazing, which is when you want to hang out with your friends, to actually like being able to do something with somebody on a Sunday? Like, how do I make it so that we can all like have someone like to hang out with, like to have like real like close friends like you would like when you were young. Like you would just call up your friend, like, hey, what are you doing on Tuesday? Oh, we want to grab a milkshake, like let's do that. Like that's the kind of friend I want. And then you can like someone that you can actually tell stuff to, like someone that's like close to you, like that. Like that's what I want out of this. So I said, okay, well, how do we do that? And one night, one of the meetups, someone actually came up to me and they approached me and they said, well, we got a bunch of cool people together. Why don't we all do like a vacation? And I started thinking, I'm like, well, I don't really have anyone to go on vacation with. And I traveled alone. So I was like, I don't really have anyone to go on vacation with. And going on vacation alone in general just sucks. Like there was nights there where it just sucked, man. Like, yeah, there's the amazing events where you meet people too, but like that's like 15% on the time. I mean, you've got to be by yourself for the other 85%. Like, and yeah, history is great, but without like people to experience it with, it's like when you it's like when you when you achieve something or you get a new job or something, like what's the first thing that you do? It's like you pick up the phone and you call mom, look what I got, or like or your best friend, like you'll never believe what happened. Like we're meant to be around people. Like history without people is just empty places where people lived 2,000 years ago. I mean, it is like, so if it's people and experience that makes things fun, and that makes like brings places to life and culture, like that's it's bonding over experiences. I said, how do we speed up the friend making process? So I said, okay, well, what if I thought about it and I said, every close friend that I've ever known, the reason we were close friends is because we bonded over these experiences. Like we went through hard times together, we struggled, we cried, we've been through it all. And I said, how do we accelerate the friend making process? So I said, well, what if we did go on vacation together? I took the suggestion. I said, well, that's a great suggestion. What if we just went on a vacation together, but it can't be a normal vacation? Because, and here's where experiences come in. Because if we just went and we sat on a beach in Cancun and just drank margaritas, it sounds brilliant, but we come back and we would not have bonded. Because, we would have hung out, maybe, had a few drinks together, but it's not the same. It's not the same as actually kind of going somewhere which gets you out of your comfort zone, because it's those tough times that build the friendship. It's going out and going on trips and seeing things and culture, like putting yourself in, exposing yourself to like new things, like that's and situations where you're sort of like, okay, go jump off, you do cliff diving together or something that builds. And I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. We're not doing cliff diving or anything like super dangerous, but it's gonna be like quite safe activities, like going and seeing like a mud volcano for a day. Like it's gonna be really amazing activities, but I want to do local experiences. I want like experiences that like challenge us and bond us together. So I said, okay, well, if we want to do that, where's somewhere we can go if it's not like somewhere like a resort location, where? And so I started looking into it, and I discovered Colombia. I thought Colombia sounded really amazing. They've got like a lot of local experiences, local food, and I feel like it's enough to get us out of our comfort zone in a safe way that bonds us together. And the goal is that you'll come back from this trip and you'll have a ton of new friends in the city that you can call on a Sunday, that you can call on a weekday and be like, hey, let's hang out. And that's what I want to create, and that's what I want to do. So I genuinely hope you'll consider coming to Colombia. I posted the video. I posted the event for Tuesday, and I really hope you're going to join. You're going to the event is just to learn more. It's just so you guys can learn more, learn what the trip's about, kind of meet the people that are interested in going, and see if it's a fit for you. And if it is, I know it's going to be hard. We're 1 month to go. 1 month to go to Colombia, and it's like, okay, well, I've got to tell my boss, hey, I want a week off. But let me ask you this: if you don't do it, you're going to regret it, number one. And number two, what's your social life going to look like? What do you want your social life to look like in 6 months, 12 months? Like, do you want to have like really close friends in your life that you can call on the weekend, or are you just satisfied kind of with the way things are right now? Like, does your phone ring on a Sunday? Like, mine doesn't. That's why I'm going on this trip. Like, if you're in the same boat, come check out, come learn more on Tuesday. So I really hope to see you there, and thanks so much, guys.